Good afternoon or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another episode of Ron's coverage. And today I wanted to give my reaction about the Bad Bunny performance during the Super Bowl halftime show. And its potential competitor, Turning Point USA, who had their own version of the halftime show. So I'm about to break this all down for y'all. Okay? Now, it's been Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime performance has been given mixed reviews. Like, some people say he rocked the house. I believe he rocked the house. I believe his performance, he took me back to a time in my life when I was partying in the Heights or on Fordham Road in the Bronx, from New York City, by the way. Washington Heights is a neighborhood in New York City, so is the Bronx. It took me back to a time when I was partying in the Bronx during when I was a teenager, my early 20s, and I used to attend these parties, these clubs where it has that reggaeton and Bad Bunny type of music, Dominican style type music, Spanish music, right? And Bad Bunny, his music is reminiscent of that vibe of a reggaeton vibe mixed with some traditional with some traditional Spanish music mix, whatever. And that his performance definitely did bring back a lot of memories for myself, and I believe it was a great performance. Now, also, what I also want to talk about is that make the case of a follow-up from my last video stating that these celebrities are very good entertainers. They're just politically illiterate. And Bad Bunny, his performance at the halftime show is evident that he is a great performer. He rocked the house. He's a great performer, an excellent entertainer. However, he's just not literate when it comes to politics, because he opposes Trump's mass deportation program, just like I expected. He gave critique about Trump and his immigration policy. And again, his analysis, he's very illiterate about politics. I think he was born here in America, but he's Puerto Rican or whatever. He, just like every other celebrity, he don't know what he's talking about when it comes to politics. Like I said, with the mass deportation, we have to implement that policy so we can deport the massive amount of migrants that entered the country under Biden's administration. So we have to get them out. So that's first off. So he's looking at it from a activist perspective, from a humanitarian perspective, but sometimes the humanitarian perspective is not the most efficient policy. Is not the most efficient policy in regards to how government should function. So a lot of these celebrities look at things from a activist humanitarian standpoint when it's not the most effective in terms of policy of how society should function. Because if these people all got their way, our society will fall just like the Roman Empire. So that is that. And now, a lot of conservatives have critiqued Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime performance, saying, "Oh, it was all Spanish. It was all Spanish." I'm like, okay, I understand the viewpoint. They want a traditional halftime show, Super Bowl halftime show, where the performers are singing or rapping in English, just like last year with the Kendrick Lamar. Just like how all the Super Bowl halftime performances in the years prior, they want a performer, to sing or rap or do their music in English. And I understand their viewpoint. So alternatively, they had the right wingers had their own halftime show. Charlie Kirk's organization called Turning Point USA has had their own version of the halftime show, which has listed 5 to 10 million concurrent viewers. So it's like that's a big number. Even though, of course, Super Bowl performance had higher numbers, of course, but it's a big number because the reports from Samba TV that gives analysis and numbers based on the smart TVs with the technology from the smart TVs. They say that this year's Super Bowl halftime show has lost 5 million viewers for the halftime show. Right? It dropped 39% in comparison to last year's Super Bowl show when Kendrick Lamar was performing. Granted, so that 5 million dip in viewers more than likely have went to Turning Point USA halftime show. They tuned in. Those 5 million viewers tuned in into Turning Point USA halftime show. That's wow. So that speaks volumes to now it could potentially create a market of alternative halftime shows to the Super Bowl. That could create a market for next year. So that's a big deal. So I know a lot of liberals on this side, on the Democrats, liberals on that side of the aisle, like to cope and like to hate on the conservatives, but numbers are numbers. Numbers are numbers. Like to say, oh, the Super Bowl, they still had a low amount of viewers in comparison to the Super Bowl halftime show. Well, of course, that's average because Super Bowl, the NFL is a conglomerate company, so of course they're going to have a halftime show. But for Turning Point USA to have 5 million viewers for their alternative halftime show is a big deal. Okay, so yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about. And so, like I said, this could create a market for alternative Super Bowl halftime shows in the future. And liberals can't seem to cope with that. And I believe in a free market, so let the free market speak for themselves. And liberals like the cope saying that there was bots, all those was bots, but it's hard to implement 5 million bots. Like, 5 million bots is hard to implement that. It's hard to have a function of 5 million bots. Like 5 million bots being able to function in an orderly manner for just to tune in to the Turning Point USA halftime show. I find that ridiculous. That's just them coping. But anyway, let the free market speak for themselves. All right, I believe in free market economics. So I don't care. This is not speaking from a propaganda standpoint. I'm speaking from a free market, common sense standpoint. Right? But that's all I needed to say. That's my 2 cents on the issue. So I will catch y'all on my next video. You like this video, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment. I will catch y'all on my next video. Peace.